The rain had started sometime after midnight, quiet at first, like whispers brushing against the windows of the old apartment, then louder, angrier, crashing against the crooked glass panes with the fury of a storm that didn't want to be ignored. Mira stood in front of the cracked window, arms wrapped around herself. She hadn't meant to end up here. Not with her. Not in a forgotten attic flat 2 blocks from the canal in Jordan. Not hiding. And definitely not alone in a room with only one bed. "Do you think they saw us?" a voice asked from the shadows behind her. Low, calm, too composed for someone being hunted. Mira turned, heart still hammering from the chase. A woman emerged from the candlelit corner, tossing her soaked leather jacket onto the chair. The candle flames fluttered from the motion, casting golden flickers across her face. It was Elisa, her best friend's wife. The woman Mira had spent years avoiding real conversation with. Too elegant, too unreadable, too magnetic. "No," Mira said, clearing her throat. I don't think they saw us." Elisa exhaled and leaned against the wall, eyes closing for a second. Her blouse clung to her skin, damp and clinging, the collar slightly open to reveal a scratch near her collarbone. Mira's gaze lingered on it, the pale skin marked with just a trace of blood. She didn't mean to stare, but she didn't stop herself either. "You okay?" Mira asked, softer now. Elisa opened her eyes and looked at her. Really looked. "You don't have to protect me, you know. You barely even know me." "I know enough," Mira replied, voice tight. "I know that the police think you're involved in your husband's disappearance. And that you're not." Elisa's jaw clenched. "Don't be so sure." A beat of silence fell between them, only broken by the sound of rain and the occasional flicker of the candle. Mira stepped away from the window. Her wet boots squished softly on the wood floor. "There's only one bed," she said awkwardly. "I'll take the floor." Elisa didn't respond at first. Then she said, "Don't be ridiculous. We can share." "I don't bite." Mira hesitated. Her heart betrayed her by pounding faster. She nodded, pretending to be unaffected, and sat at the edge of the bed, carefully unzipping her coat. Her clothes were damp too, tight jeans and a thin sweater clinging to her body. Elisa lit another candle, then crossed the room, barefoot now. Her hips swayed naturally, like she didn't even notice Mira's eyes following her. "Why are you helping me?" Elisa asked as she sat beside her, their arms almost touching. "Because I trust my gut," Mira said. "And because no one deserves to be hunted like this." Elisa smiled faintly, eyes heavy-lidded. "Even if they've lied to everyone they know?" Mira turned to her. "Did you lie to my best friend? Did you lie to me?" Elisa didn't look away. "About some things." "Yes." Mira held her breath. The closeness, the tension. It was thick enough to drown in. And then it happened. She caught Elisa staring at her lips. Just for a second, but it was there. That unmistakable pause, that flicker of hesitation, that invisible magnet pulling them closer. "Elisa," Mira whispered. It was both a warning and a plea. "I shouldn't," Elisa said. But she didn't move away. Neither did Mira. Their faces were so close now. The candles flickered again as if they sensed the air shift between them. Mira's lips parted, just slightly. And when Elisa leaned in, Mira didn't stop her. Their mouths met in the softest collision. Hesitant, unsure. And then again, deeper. Warmer. Elisa's fingers slid into Mira's damp hair, pulling her closer, and Mira's hand found her hip. The kiss wasn't gentle anymore. When they finally pulled apart, Mira's chest heaved. "This doesn't change anything," she whispered. Elisa looked at her like she already knew that was a lie. The room was colder than it had been earlier, but Mira felt flushed. She sat on the edge of the bed, blanket wrapped around her waist, staring at the flickering candle. Elisa had retreated to the bathroom moments after the kiss. Not a word, not a glance back. The silence was louder than the rain outside. Mira touched her lips, still swollen, still tingling with the echo of what had just happened. She should feel guilty, or confused. But all she felt was the unbearable heat of want and the weight of something that felt dangerously like truth. The bathroom door opened. Steam curled out like a veil, and Elisa stepped through wearing one of the oversized t-shirts Mira had stuffed into her backpack. It clung to her in places it shouldn't. She walked barefoot, silent, graceful, almost too calm. "I shouldn't have done that," Elisa said quietly, not looking at her. Mira didn't answer. Elisa sat on the other end of the bed. "Do you regret it?" The question hung in the air. Mira exhaled. "Do you?" No, Elisa's answer came without pause. "But it's still wrong." Mira turned to face her. "You think kissing me is more wrong than covering up a possible murder?" Elisa's eyes narrowed. "I didn't kill him, Mira. I want to believe you." "Then do." "I want to," Mira repeated, softer now. "But you're not giving me much." Elisa sighed and pulled her knees to her chest. "He wasn't the man everyone thought he was. Your friend, my husband, he was involved with some bad people. That's why we moved to Amsterdam. He said it was for his job. But it wasn't. It was to escape something." "What?" Elisa looked up at her. Dead. People watching us. And then he just disappeared." Mira's stomach turned. "You didn't call the police right away." "Because they would have blamed me." Her voice cracked. "They already were." He left behind forged bank transfers, security footage conveniently missing from the night he vanished, and a text to his colleague saying he didn't feel safe at home. Mira's breath caught. "He said that about you?" "Yes. And I didn't even know he sent it until they showed it to me at the station." Mira was quiet for a long time. Then she got up and walked toward the kitchenette, pretending to fiddle with the teapot. Her hands trembled slightly. "You said he was your best friend," Elisa continued behind her. "But you never liked him, did you?" Mira's back stiffened. "He always said you were too nosy, too loyal, that if we ever split, you'd take my side." "I didn't like the way he talked about you," Mira said flatly. "Like you were property." "He treated me like it too." There it was. Naked. Only. The truth neither of them had dared to say before. Mira turned slowly. Elisa was staring at her again. No more pretense. Just exhaustion and something unspoken beneath it all. Hunger, fear, maybe both. "You're scared," Mira said. Elisa nodded. "But not of what I did. I'm scared of what I'm starting to feel." Mira moved without thinking. She crossed the room, stood in front of her. The candlelight flickered as if in warning. Or invitation. "You kissed me," she whispered. "And I didn't stop you. I should have." Elisa reached for her hand. "Do you want to stop?" Mira didn't pull away. "I don't know what I want." Elisa leaned her head against Mira's belly. Mira stood frozen, her fingers trembling before gently threading through Elisa's damp hair. "Maybe this is just trauma," Mira said. "Fear. The adrenaline. The rain. The candlelight. Maybe we're just reacting." "Maybe," Elisa said softly. "But it doesn't feel like just a reaction." Sound cracked outside. Bang. Distant but sharp. Both women froze. Elisa stood up quickly, crossing to the window. She peered through the curtains. A black car was parked under the dim orange street lamp. Its engine still running. No one exited. No one moved. Mira's heart spiked. "They found us," Elisa said, backing away. "Who?" "I don't know," she whispered. "But it's not the police." The candle flickered out in a hiss. Darkness fell. For a full minute, neither of them moved. The sudden darkness pressed in like a physical weight, made heavier by the echo of the bang outside and the sound of the rain stuttering on the roof tiles above. Mira reached for the matches with unsteady fingers, but Elisa caught her wrist. "Don't," she whispered. "They'll see the light." So they stayed still. Mira's pulse drummed in her ears. Her mind raced through possibilities. Who was in the car? What did they want? And more terrifyingly, how had they found them? The black car hadn't moved, but it was still there, still running. What if it's just someone waiting out the storm? Mira tried to reason. But Elisa shook her head. No one parks on that street this late. That's why I chose this place. Mira inhaled slowly, the scent of extinguished wax and old wood filling her lungs. The silence stretched tight between them until the car engine finally went quiet. Elisa moved to the floor, crawling beneath the window frame, pulling Mira down with her. They'll come from the back, she murmured. There's a stairwell. No cameras. How do you know that? Elisa didn't answer. But the look on her face said enough, she'd prepared for this. And Mira realized something then. Elisa wasn't just running from the police. She was running from people far more dangerous. Mira's mouth went dry. You need to tell me everything. No more half-truths. Elisa met her gaze, her face close, lit only by the dim orange glow bleeding through the curtain. I found a flash drive, she said. 3 weeks before he disappeared. Hidden in his shaving kit. I didn't mean to snoop. I was looking for razor blades. But when I opened it... She trailed off, her voice breaking. What was on it? Mira asked. Ledger files. Transactions. Passwords. Bank accounts in Curacao. But also, photos. Blackmail. Surveillance. Of politicians, of women. Of me. Mira stared. He was watching you. Elisa nodded slowly. I think he knew I was starting to suspect something. And when I confronted him about it, he said he'd make sure no one ever believed me. Mira leaned back against the wall, her heart a storm of confusion and anger. So you ran. I took the flash drive and I ran. I tried to disappear. But someone is still looking for it. You don't have it. No, Elisa said bitterly. I mailed it to a lawyer friend in Berlin. I've been trying to reach her for days. She's gone dark. A floorboard creaked above them. Both women froze. Doorstep. Someone was in the building. Mira's entire body went tense. We have to move. Elisa nodded and opened the small cabinet in the kitchenette. From the back, she pulled a rusted iron rod, thin but heavy. Mira raised an eyebrow. I told you I prepared for this. They slipped into the hall, barefoot, silent. The only light came from a far window at the end of the corridor. The stairwell door creaked as Mira nudged it open. Voices echoed from downstairs. Well, confident. 2 at least. They were being hunted. Mira pulled Elisa close, her lips almost brushing her ear. We go up. Roof access. Elisa nodded and led her quickly up the narrow stairs, each one groaning under their weight. At the top was a metal door with chipped blue paint. Elisa struggled with the rusted latch until Mira shoved her aside and kicked it open. Cool wind hit them like a slap. They stepped onto the rooftop, the entire city of Amsterdam stretching out below. Canals glittering faintly, rooftops stacked like dominoes, the bell tower of Westerkerk piercing the sky. We need to jump to the next building, Elisa said breathlessly. Mira looked down. That's a 5-foot gap. You scared? No, Mira said, grabbing her hand. I'm just pissed that kissing you last night is now officially the least dangerous thing I've done this week. I ran. Just as a shadow appeared in the stairwell below. Mira jumped first, landing hard on the gravel rooftop. Elisa followed seconds later, slipping, falling forward. Mira caught her. Their faces were inches apart again. And even now, heart racing, lungs burning, they lingered. Elisa's eyes burned with something Mira hadn't seen before. Still don't regret it? Mira asked. No, Elisa breathed. But if we survive this, I want more than a kiss. Mira smiled, half wild. Then keep running. Sirens sounded in the distance. Someone shouted from behind. They didn't wait to see who. They just ran hand in hand into the dark. Dawn hadn't broken yet, but the city had begun to stir. Mira and Elisa crouched behind a narrow chimney stack on the rooftop of a bookshop in De Pijp, breath steaming in the cold early air. Below, a tram rattled by. The men hadn't followed them this far, or if they had, they were being careful. We can't keep running, Mira whispered. Her knees ached, her clothes were damp from the rain, and her heart was bruised with too many emotions she hadn't dared name. Elisa turned to her, eyes hollow but calm. Then help me finish it. How? I know where my husband kept his backups. The real ones. He had an old safety deposit box registered under a fake name. It's in Harlem, a bank near the canal. You want us to just walk in and claim a box linked to a man being investigated for organized crime? He's not officially missing. Not yet. There's a window. If we go in together, we might pull it off. Mira stared at her, jaw tight. And what happens after? We hand the drive to the police and what? Hope they don't lock you up too. I don't care what happens to me, Elisa said. I just want to end this. Mira grabbed her by the arm. Don't say that. Don't act like you're disposable. You're not. Lisa blinked. Something broke behind her eyes. Why are you even here, Mira? You could have walked away. I don't know, Mira shouted. Then quieter. Maybe I'm just tired of pretending. Elisa stepped closer. Pretending what? That I didn't feel something. Every time you looked at me. That I didn't wonder what it meant. That I wasn't terrified the moment I kissed you. And even more terrified of how badly I wanted to do it again. Elisa reached for her hand. And this time Mira didn't flinch. Their fingers laced together like they'd always belonged. I want to do this with you, Elisa whispered. Not just the plan. All of it. But I won't drag you further if you're not sure. I've never been more sure of anything, Mira said. By midday, they stood in the quiet lobby of a vintage bank in Harlem, dressed in borrowed coats and sunglasses. Elisa approached the counter, spoke the alias in Dutch, and after a long pause, the woman behind the desk nodded and escorted them to the back. The deposit box was older than expected, a heavy drawer with rust along the edges. When the clerk left them alone, Elisa pulled it open. Inside was a simple black USB drive and an envelope. She handed the envelope to Mira. Mira opened it. Photos. Dozens of them. Her best friend, Elisa's husband, was pictured at lavish parties, secret meetings in the arms of other women, in a basement with what looked like weapons. Proof. He had been orchestrating something much worse than fraud. And then the last photo, Elisa asleep. Timestamp. A camera angle clearly from inside their bedroom. Mira swallowed hard. He was going to destroy you. Elisa nodded. But now he can't. They left the bank unnoticed. Mira tucked the drive into her boot. They made it back to Amsterdam just before dusk. That night, in a rented loft hidden above a cheese shop, they sent everything to 3 trusted contacts. Lawyer, a journalist, a former tech investigator. The story would break soon. And when it did, Mira knew everything would change. She sat on the bed again. Only one. Same as the first night. Elisa stepped out of the shower, hair damp, skin glowing. She stood at the edge of the bed, watching Mira silently. I never thought I could feel safe with someone again, she said. Not like this. Mira reached up, tugging her hand gently. Then stay. Elisa slid onto the bed, straddling her lap, their foreheads touching. We don't owe anyone an explanation. Mira smiled. We only owe each other the truth. And this time when their lips met, it wasn't a kiss of desperation or escape. It was something sacred, something real. The next morning, the headlines exploded across Europe. Tech CEO linked to international crime ring disappears. Wife leaks data files. The photo of Elisa, the one they chose for the press, showed her walking into the Harlem bank, chin high. No mention of Mira. No mention of love. But behind the scenes, in a quiet apartment above a Dutch canal, 2 women finally breathed freely. No more pretending. No more running. Only each other, and the life they would now choose together.